Hello in Mendham. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm Steve. You can call me Steve. My screen name is Ellen Steve. But I'm responding to your video, Objectivity / Subjectivity, the little bridge that couldn't. The thought experiment toward the beginning is interesting, where you're saying, you basically describe an idealized human society, only it's not humans, it's apes or chimps or whatever you said. So, and you went on to explain that, yes, it's like an idealized human society. They have technology like ours, oh wait, but it's more advanced. They have, like you said, a unified theory of physics, which humans have yet to complete. You have general relativity, you have quantum mechanics, but combining them has been problematic for theoretical physicists. But, so anyway, you came to the conclusion that basically, because this race of apes has better technology or better theories of physics, or because they care more about animals or doing something about the natural world, to use your words, I mean, do you really think that entails that they have more of a right to life than humans? I don't see how I'm not sure what criteria that you want to use between evaluating whether humans deserve to live more or whether these apes deserve to live more. What that comes down to is essentially saying that it is in fact valuable to be more technologically sophisticated, or I mean, do you think it's true to say that one ought to preserve the lives of more intelligent beings over less intelligent beings? If you were to, if you think that's true, and if you think of it in terms of, okay, you've got the less intelligent humans and you've got the more intelligent ape-like species, in that case you might want to say, well, yeah, the apes are more intelligent, blah blah blah, just what I said earlier. Therefore, it's true that we ought to preserve their species rather than mankind. Okay, so what I was saying is that if you can make that distinction and say, okay, ape species more intelligent, human species less intelligent, therefore one ought to preserve the more intelligent species, which is, in this case, it'd be the ape species. Well, if you do that, if what you're claiming comes down to how I just tried to accurately portray it, then there's a lot of things you could justify that you probably would not want to, such as racism. I mean, there is quite a bit of debate over the accuracy, over what you're really measuring when you perform IQ tests, or what is intelligence exactly. But anyway, you could show that there are certain races of human beings who score lower on IQ tests. So, do you want to say that, say, I don't know, I don't really want to pick on a particular race, but let's say you have races X and Y. If race X is on average 2 IQ points higher than race Y, and you have a scenario similar to the one you described earlier, where you either have to eliminate species X or eliminate species Y, or civilization X, civilization Y, do you really think that that the more intelligent or the more technologically sophisticated species or civilization really deserves to live more than the slightly less intelligent or slightly less technologically sophisticated species? That seems like prejudice, which is an interesting thing to conclude, because what you were originally saying is that we would be prejudiced if we were to favor humans over apes, over superhuman advanced apes. But okay, I also want to make the claim that seems like you want to say that there are true ought statements, such as one ought to minimize suffering, or one ought to preserve the more advanced civilization. So I'd like to ask you, it's a very hard question, but a difficult question to answer, but oughts, if you think that there are true ought statements, such as the ones I just read or stated, they're true in virtue of what? So here's what I'm saying. 2 + 2 = 4. That's true, right? That's true in virtue of what? Well, it follows from the definition of plus and equals, and from properties of the number 2 and the number 4. So basically, I'm saying the truths of arithmetic follow from the rules and the axioms of arithmetic. When I say the Pacific Ocean is made primarily of water, why is that true? Well, given the meaning of the words I just used, and given the state of the physical world, namely, what we express when we say that the Pacific Ocean is primarily composed of water, I mean, I've said something true. Again, in virtue of what? In virtue of the meanings of the words I used, and in virtue of the state of the world. So, okay, so that's what I mean by in virtue of what is something true. So I'll ask again. If you think it's true to say that one ought to minimize suffering, or one ought to preserve more advanced species, when possible, those ought statements are true in virtue of what? I'd also like to say that if someone tells me that they value, that they very deeply enjoy causing great suffering in other people, I would say I find that disgusting. I don't want to do that to them. I hope they don't do it to me. I hope they don't cause great suffering in anyone. But you want to say something much stronger, right? It seems like you want to say that that it is in fact wrong to inflict great suffering in other people. So again, that would be true in virtue of what? Another claim I want to make is that you seem to say that it's true that life does have value, or according to some absolute, perhaps pre-existing, whatever it would mean for a value system to exist outside of some sort of consciousness. But it seems like you're saying that life has absolute value. So okay, that's a claim. Why should I believe it? I mean, I value life, but again, to use terminology we seem to be using on YouTube, I mean, it's a much more subjective claim. I'm saying that it's almost a matter of taste as to what we value, which ethical systems we find more compelling, which ones we adhere to. That's just kind of seeing which moralities we like more. That's obviously very different from saying that there is a true morality. If you want to say that, I'd ask again, that morality is true in virtue of what? Do you believe that it is more rational to value certain things over other things? If so, which things do you think which things do you believe that it is more rational to value? And maybe you can tell me why you think that those things are in fact valuable, or in fact more valuable than other things. I guess more specifically, what is it about the advanced ape species that you think is more worthy of preserving? What is it that is more valuable about the ape species than the human species?